Good morning, friends. Does it feel like time to start singing, or are we waiting for the next weather change? In the order of service, it says the gathering hymn is hymn number 345, and it's not. It's 347, and I'm the one responsible for putting that wrong number in there. So 347 in the gray hymn book, Gather the Spirit. The lyrics will be projected on the screen. If you're joining us online, you can find the lyrics posted in the chat. I invite you to rise in body and or spirit, and let's sing together.
Good morning. Welcome to the Olympia UU congregation. Our community envisions an interconnected world that is loving, just, and healthy. We commit to live out our mission, to welcome and wonder, embrace and empower, bridge and become. Thank you for joining us today. You are welcome here just as you are, whatever beliefs sustain you, whomever you love, however you understand and express your identity, and in all the ways you are still becoming the person you will be. My name is Des McGarren. I use he, him pronouns, and I am a member of the worship arts team. Leading worship with me today is our minister, Reverend Mary Gear, Troy Fisher, our music director, and Reverend Sarah Lewis, the director of community and faith development. Here's a few things you should know about our service today. We are streaming live on Zoom and YouTube, and the service is being recorded. For us here in the sanctuary, we have subtitles on the screen that can sometimes wander from the words intended. Over here, we have soft chairs and activities if you're interested. We are a multi-generational community, and we welcome the company of our youth. Kids, babies, teens, right here in the sanctuary. There is also nursery care and a storytime program for children in the classroom wing. Youth in middle and high school have youth group at 11:30 and will be exploring the theme of equity this month. We are grateful for the many hands that helped make worship happen this morning. Thank you to all who contribute in so many ways. After the service, everyone will have the chance to discuss reflection questions offered by Reverend Mary. For those online, we invite you to go into a breakout room for a virtual coffee chat. For those in person, feel free to stay for coffee and fellowship in the Commons. At 11:30, after the coffee chat, you are invited to return to the main room or sanctuary for Board Sunday to kick off our stewardship drive. Thank you to all who participated in the stewardship launch on Thursday. If you missed the after-dinner stories and music by some amazingly talented performers, including individual songs by our very own Reverend Mary and Troy, you can find the recording on the OUUC YouTube channel and at the link in the chat. The stewardship drive is off to a great start. As of this writing, we had 38 pledgers committing over $168,000. We have a long way to go, so don't be left behind. Make a personal pledge to make your pledge today by visiting the stewardship table in the Commons after the service, or visit the website and the link in the chat. This coming Thursday, all parents and active caregivers are invited to the Parents Group's monthly meeting at 6:30 p.m., both in person and also on Zoom. The group meets for mutual support, community, and to discuss a topic of concern to parenting each month. This month's topic is gender and parenting. Contact Reverend Sarah for the Zoom link. There are many things happening at OUUC. Check out the Tuesday electronic update or the website for the most up-to-date information. Now, let us open our hearts and minds as we prepare for worship. It is good to be together. This morning, we join Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world in lighting a chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition. If you are online and have a chalice or candle, please join me as we light them together with the words from Vanessa Taitang. Like the flame of the chalice, may the flame in our hearts burn, remaining unextinguished. May it ignite our energies, our drive, our resolve to dream, to build, and live into the world that good which exists for now, only in our imaginings.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Reverend Mary, and I use she, her pronouns. I am an older white woman wearing glasses. I have brown and silver hair, and today I have on a burgundy shirt, a black jacket, and the stole that you all gifted me with at my installation almost 2 years ago now. It's gray and navy blue and has rainbow embroidery. Today we gather on site and online, because that's how we gather now, bridging distances and staying connected. So I'm wondering if those of us in the sanctuary on site today can acknowledge our community online. Now, I know that the screen is up here, but the camera is back there. So if you're able, turn around and let's wave to our folks who are joining us online today. Woohoo, we are so glad that you are here. Welcome, everyone. Our opening words today are offered by the Reverend Sarah Lawal. Out of the flames of fear, we rise with courage of our deepest convictions to stand for justice, inclusion, and peace. Out of the flames of scrutiny, we rise to proclaim our faith with hope to heal a fractured and hurting world. Out of the flames of doubt, We rise to embrace the mystery, wonder, and awe of all that is and all that is yet to be. Out of the flames of hate, we rise with a force of love, love that celebrates our shared humanity. Out of the flames, we rise. Come, let us worship together.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Oh no, he stood up. We must be singing around. I just wanted you to know that I do have legs. Let's sing around. And shoes. I do have shoes on, which is a Sunday-only occasion. Put on your Sunday shoes. We're going to start with the desk cant that goes with this. Though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, though you've broken your vows. And you're going to keep singing that. Then I'll bring this side over here in singing, and we'll sing 3 times through the chorus. I'll bring you in 3 times through the chorus, and when you're done with the chorus, we'll come back to that chant. Okay? So all together, here we go. Though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, come, come, whoever you are, wonder, worshiper, lover of leaving, come, come, whoever you are, wonder, yet again, come, and again, come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, yet lover of leaving, rose your perils 1,000 stripes, broken your vows 1,000 times, though you've broken your vows 1,000. And now the fade out, though you've broken your vows. Just a whisper. You're brilliant. There's lots of room up in the choir seats.
As I mentioned earlier, this month is stewardship season here at OUUC, where we make pledges of financial support for this community. Stewardship is both a practical act and a spiritual practice. We know that it takes all of us to support this congregation we love. It takes all of us to provide the resources to pay our staff and our bills. And we know that joining our individual resources to do this is a profound act of community. Each Sunday we pause to notice what is in our hearts and to place a stone in the water and to share in the Zoom chat. Each stewardship season, we have an annual opportunity to pause, to notice what we value and to give as an expression of gratitude for what we have received. In the coming Sundays, a different member of our OUUC community will share a brief testimonial about something that they have found here and value deeply. Today's testimonial will be shared by Linda Witcher. Linda.
Good morning. I'm pleased to be here this morning to share a bit of my story and why I value this community. My connection to Unitarianism began back in 1945 when my parents, Lad, who was newly discharged from the Army, and Jeanette a student at the University of Washington, wanted to marry. They asked a Catholic priest, but he refused to sanctify their marriage as Jeanette was pregnant. Fortunately, Jeanette's brother knew that the minister at University Unitarian held a different point of view, and they were married. The years passed, and my parents were living in Olympia with 4 young children when Mom began attending the Unitarian Fellowship of Olympia. Here, we kids were schooled in a faith that does not provide direct answers, but fosters curiosity, explores possibilities, and honors ancient and current world faith. Fast forward a few years, and the next Witcher generation was getting married by Unitarian ministers, and 2 of us, my sister Celia and I, were bringing our children to this congregation. Those kids are grown. They're living in other towns with their families, but Celia and I, we're still here. So what is it that holds us? What do I value about this congregation? What holds me here is the connection with the values I learned as a child: to question, to engage in dialogue, and be skeptical. Reverend Mary's sermons link us to our world near and far. She inspires us to explore society and to affect change for a better environment. Combining the spoken word with the art of our music director, Troy, we have moments of reflection, prayer, and song that make me cry. Here, we are all welcome to lift our singing voices, to celebrate together, and to go forth bravely into the world, knowing that if the days ahead bring challenge or celebration, here we find fellow travelers on that same journey. I wager that if the church in which Mom had grown had been there for her when she so deeply needed to be held in love and compassion, I wouldn't be standing here today testifying about OUUC's impact. Rather, I'd probably be downtown at St. Mike's. But I am grateful to be here with this congregation that holds you and me in love.
We are so grateful to welcome 7 new members to OUUC today. Absolutely. So would the new members please come forward so that we can see you and welcome you, and join us up here. Thank you all for being here today. We will have the membership book for you to sign in the Commons after the service, where you will join all the members since the Unitarian Fellowship of Olympia was founded in 1952. It's the same book. And there's cake. So we recognize this commitment to membership in worship as we hold up that which is of worth, sharing our voices in song, sharing words in silence, sharing our joys and sorrows, sharing our work for justice, and sharing ministry. Joining OUUC means being part of this gathered community, speaking out on the future of the congregation, offering and receiving gifts of the Spirit, supporting others, and being supported in return. If you will join in this mission and in this work together, would you please say, I will? I will. Thank you so much.
And good morning. I'm Sarah Lewis, the Director of Community and Faith Development. We welcome you as new members of our community this morning. You have come to worship, play, work, and grow among us. Ours is a free fellowship. We have no creeds, and you are free to bring your ideas and beliefs to this congregation and to share them with others. I invite you to join with us in the religious search for meaning and purpose in life, informed by our individual beliefs and the traditions of Unitarian Universalism.
Good morning. I'm Arlene Kohlrich, and I'm president of the Board of Trustees, and I welcome you to membership to Olympia UU. Will the members of the congregation please join me in saying the words printed in your orders of service and also in the Zoom chat? We receive you with open hands and hearts. As you join us, we once again renew our own commitment to membership at OUUC. Now, would we join together? What's supposed to be everyone again? Would everyone please join in as there's another section? Okay. Would everyone also please join in as we say the words printed on the order of service and in the Zoom chat? We join together to live out our covenant and our shared vision to be a liberal religious community that helps create a loving, just, and healthy world. We are proud and happy to have you among us. Welcome.
We come together in covenant, making mutual promises, being willing to transform ourselves into the community that we want to be, that we may transform the world. Here are the names of our new members, and if you want to give a little wave when I say your name, that would be great. Maggie Smith, John Crutcher, John Cox, James Forrest, John Oliver, Sharon Harrell, and Bruce Wolfram. Thank you so much for creating community as we join in this journey together. Welcome.
Each Sunday, we engage in the spiritual practices of generosity and gratitude by joining together in service to our community and to something greater than ourselves. We each have the power to share, and when we combine our gifts to create an offering, together we are able to do more than any of us can do alone. We also express our gratitude for the gifts that life has given us, for the network of relationships in which we live, and for the presence of this community. If you are new or visiting us for the first or second time, you are our welcome guest with no expectation to contribute. However, if you are moved to be a part of our offering, what you share will be most gratefully received. The offering collected here does two things. It helps support the ongoing work of this congregation, which is also supported by our regular pledges. This offering also supports an organization that serves our community in harmony with our Unitarian Universalist values. Our Share the Plate organization for March and April is the OUUC Foundation. This is what they share about their work.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Javon Bird, the Executive Director of the OUUC Foundation for Research and Education in African Culture. We're an Olympia-based nonprofit that works in African music education, partnering with the Olympia school districts. We also partner with the with the city of Olympia, providing African American and African centered programming that's for the whole entire community. For the last couple of years, we've been working with Olympia school districts, providing world music education and letting students enjoy African music and see how much of a global society that we live in. We're excited and we're thankful that we were chosen for this grant opportunity. And this funding will actually help us to continue to promote our programs in schools and within the community. Remember, most of the programming that we do is completely free for the students. So they're able to come in, learn about different culture, learn about things that they might not get a chance to learn about in school and class, like, African drums, African history, African American history. And most of the students, well, actually, I'll say all of the students who come into our program, they really, really love it. So I'd like to say again, thank you all for considering us as an organization that you would like to fund. And I look forward to continuing this partnership and continuing to work with the city of Olympia and spreading world culture and music.
Passing the offering plate is never just a practical exercise. It has always been a ritual reminder of that form of love we call generosity. May the offering now be generously given as it is gratefully received.
Thank you for your generous gifts in all the ways that you share them. When we gather on Sunday morning, we bring with us everything that is in our lives and in our world. So let's open our hearts to the complexity of life as we place stones in the water of community. You will hear a heartbeat as we share today. It brings into our awareness that our individual hearts beat, and together we create the heartbeat of our community. So right now, let's just take a deep breath together, in and out. And let's open our hearts to receive the complexity of all that is in our lives and our world today. For those online, I invite you to share from your heart by entering in the chat. Those of us in the sanctuary will be able to see your sharing on the screen. And for those on site today, I invite you to come forward if there's something you'd like to bring into this community. You may place a stone in the water as you hold your sharing in your heart. Please come up by the side aisle and return by the center aisle. So let's hear the heartbeat of our community as we reach out our hearts in love and care to all those who share this day. We'll place a stone in the water for all that has been shared online, shared from the heart. And one more stone placed in the water for all that we hold in our hearts and that remains unspoken. I invite you to be in whatever way is comfortable for you to howl. This seems like a week when we need to howl. So in a moment, I'm going to invite us to howl together. So let's send our howls to the sky that they may join us together with all those who are near and far. We'll howl for a bit until it comes to an end, and then we'll be in silence together. Ready? Ow! Beautiful. Let's hold a moment of silence together.
Let's remain seated and sing together, There Is a Love. The words will be projected on the screen. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. I rest in this love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love.
Today's reading is Come Sit by Our Fire by Jennifer Kitchen. Come sit by our fire and let us share stories. Let me hear your tales of far-off lands, wanderer, and I will tell you of my travels. Share your experience of the holy with me, worshipper, and I will tell you of that which I find divine. Come and stay, lover of leaving, for ours is no caravan of despair, but of hope. We would hear your stories of grief and sorrow as readily as those of joy and laughter, for there is a time and a place and a hearing for all the stories of this world. Stories are the breath and word of the Spirit of life, that power that we name love. Come, for our fire is warm and we have seats for all. Come again and yet again. Come speak to me of what fills your heart, what engages your mind, what resides in your soul.
Come sit by our fire and let us share stories. Stories of grief and sorrow, of joy and laughter, all the stories of this world. There are a lot of stories here at OUUC. We bring our personal stories with us, and we create new stories in our time together. When this is a safe space, we can share our individual stories, the stories that shaped us, the stories that we hold most dear. When this is a safe space, we can share the stories of our history, the celebrations and the challenges, learning lessons and passing them on. We cannot know who we are if we don't know what has shaped us. We cannot know where we are going if we don't know where we have been. At its best, a Unitarian Universalist faith community invites transformation, becoming who we are meant to be as individuals and as a collective. Transformation from what we were to what we can become. And the thing about transformation is that we don't know the outcome when we begin, when we take that first step. It's a leap of faith to enter a faith community. just as it's a leap of faith to share stories with the hope that we will be seen and heard and cared for just as we are. At its best, a faith community has stories of transformation. And as I reflected on the many stories that I know, and I don't know all of them, I remember people and events, individual conversations, and large gatherings. One person that I have been remembering lately is George Lanning. Some of you remember George, some of you may not have known George. I regularly drive by the Oddfellows Cemetery where George is buried, and I wave whenever I go by. I wave with reverence and with gratitude for George's life. George was a beloved elder in this congregation when I arrived almost 5 years ago, and there are many George stories here among the people who knew him for the 23 years that he attended this congregation. He was on the board when the congregation purchased this land and built this building, then board president when the congregation moved here from the Little White Church in Tumwater, the UFO, Unitarian Fellowship of Olympia. I'm told that George had the hard job of dealing with construction delays and standing up each Sunday to report, no, the parking lot at the new church is not quite done, and so we can't start meeting there just yet. George was one of the original tech team members working the soundboard for the services from a small closet in the sanctuary. George was a smart man. He had a career working on top secret projects, and he was awarded 2 patents. He was someone who loved technology, and he was an early adopter. He had one of the first electric cars, and he was very comfortable when we all went online during the pandemic. Some of you might remember George with the Star Trek bridge behind him on his screen. That was George, right? George was also a very wealthy man, and he was generous. Diana Finch and I visited George in October 2021 at his request. Diana was on the board at that time and interested in legacy giving. And George asked us to visit so he could share that he intended to give a large gift to OUUC each year for the next 3 years. He also shared that he'd left a legacy to OUUC in his will. When Diana and I visited that October, we didn't know that George would soon receive a cancer diagnosis that would take his life quickly. I visited him just a few weeks before he died on April 9th of 2022. I officiated at the graveside service for George as he was placed next to his beloved Helen at the Oddfellows Cemetery, and we celebrated George's life here in this space the next day with much gratitude for our online option because one of George's family members tested positive for COVID just that morning. So they participated in the service when we Zoomed them in from their hotel room. Somehow, I think George might have smiled at the wonders of technology. Whenever I visited with George, I heard a story of transformation. George grew as this congregation grew, and both were transformed. George was a man of science who lived in his head, yet I experienced him as someone who led with his heart. He spoke of his wives, his children, his grandchildren, and he spoke with such fondness and gratitude for OUUC. He told us that he left his wealth evenly split between his 7 children and OUUC. This congregation was his 8th child. It was George's generosity that allowed this congregation to install the new HVAC system that is healthier for us and healthier for the planet. And it was George's generosity that seeded the capital campaign that allowed OUUC to pay off the mortgage so that the congregation is now debt-free. Now, not everyone had the privileges that George did, and not everyone has the wealth that George acquired in part because of those privileges. What I hope we hear in George's story is his profound gratitude for the life that he lived, for the love he felt throughout his life and shared with so many, and for his love for this community, a faith community for an intellectual man who led with his heart. George's gratitude inspired his generosity. He left us a legacy of gratitude and generosity that lives in our building and in our memories. Come, come, whoever you are. That's the song we sing, a song of welcome and inclusion, a song of return. Come, yet again, come. Last summer, I received an invitation from a person who attends OUUC to meet the leaders of OLI Trans Family, OTF, a group formed to support the trans community in Olympia. Reverend Sarah and I sat with several people willing to share the challenges faced by trans individuals right here. And I was saddened to hear the many challenges, even in this progressive state, a state where trans individuals from around the country are relocating as their homes become less inclusive and more dangerous. What could we offer to support our trans neighbors? Well, we offered our space, this physical space. OTF was looking for a place big enough and safe enough for their group of more than 50 people to meet monthly to share a meal and fellowship. They wanted a place where people who identify as trans could gather for connection and support. Last fall, the OTF met monthly in the Commons for just that purpose. This month, our spiritual theme is equity, another of the core UU values identified by the Article 2 Commission as the foundation of our faith. And the Commission defined equity this way. We declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness. We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. For those familiar with the 7 UU principles, you will recognize the first principle here, the inherent worth and dignity of all people. Equity adds to this the idea that we use our resources to create accessible and inclusive communities. Now, equity is not equality. It's not that everyone gets the same. Equity means that we recognize that fairness and justice mean that everyone does not start from the same place, and that we must adjust to offset the imbalances and the injustice. So I was gratified to work with the leaders of OLI Trans Family to offer a Trans Day of Remembrance service in November. On a Sunday evening, we gathered in this sacred space to mourn the injustice of exclusion and to celebrate the beauty of diversity. The music, the rituals, the sharing were so moving. And as people left our sanctuary, several took my hand with thanks and said, "I never thought I would be welcome in a church again." OUUC is a community with wealth in the form of our beautiful building and our inclusive theology. In the spirit of equity, we offered this space to support a community that is on the margins of our society. Of course, we have more to learn about welcome and inclusion. We always have more to learn. And for more information, I invite you to attend the after-service forum next Sunday with Reverend Sarah and Isaac Jennings, OUUC's new business manager. This winter, Ole Trans families stopped gathering due to the rise of COVID cases and other threats to the most vulnerable of that community. When the weather improves and cases decline, my hope is that OTF will meet again in our space. My prayer is that they trust that we'll be here for them as we live into our song, "Come, come, whoever you are. Come, yet again, come." Come speak to me of what fills your heart, what engages your mind, what resides in your soul. That is the invitation to a faith community. Come, share your heart, your mind, your soul. Come, enter this place of possibility, this place of transformation. When I reflect on this community, there are images that come to mind of transformation. When a young woman who was camping in OUUC's parking lot died by overdose last August, we gathered to acknowledge her presence and mourn her passing. Our gathering also acknowledged the inequality and injustice of poverty, of addiction, of lack of support, all the things that deny the inherent worth and dignity of each person. I recall the weeping parent of a child who received a new diagnosis being comforted by another parent as they sat together in the RE hallway. I remember the many people we have lost and mourned these past years, the lives that we have celebrated, the ashes we have committed to our columbarium, and the ways that so many hands come together to celebrate their lives and their legacy. I have the image of thanks given by the Lieutenant Governor when I offered the invocation to the State Senate last year on Good Friday, and how grateful he was that I found a way to include everyone of all beliefs on that particular day. That's our theology. The gratitude of our online community that we continue to stream as much as we can to include everyone and extend our reach. The rally for trans inclusion at the state capitol last summer, gathering with OUUC members behind our banner declaring that love is the center of our faith. The lively gathering each Thursday evening at the community dinner that begins with cooking in the kitchen in the afternoon. The visitor who says, I didn't know a church like this even existed. Images of connection, gratitude, generosity, and justice. Social worker and researcher Brene Brown defines joy this way. Joy is an intense feeling of deep spiritual connection, pleasure, and appreciation. Today, we heard Linda Witcher's story of belonging in this community, a belonging that has been for most of her life. And over the next month, we will hear stories of belonging, of connection, and transformation. And so this is my prayer for our community, that we are a place of deep connection, belonging, and joy, a place of gratitude and generosity, a place of growth and transformation for ourselves and for the world. It matters that we are here, individually and collectively, because with our presence, we help create the beloved community we dream about. Let's open our hearts and hands with gratitude and generosity, because we make it so.
Let's sing another round. You're in good form today. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. Let's start on this side. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know this rose will furl its wings. I know this rose will burn away. I know this rose will burn its wings. I know my fears will burn away. I know this rose will burn its wings. I know my fears will burn away. I know this rose will burn its wings. I know my fears will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. Thank you.
If you are online and have a candle or chalice, please join me as we extinguish our chalice here with the words of Adam Slate. Be kind, be brave, be just, be merciful, be hopeful. This is how we keep the chalice flame burning until we are together again to light it anew. May we go in peace, go in joy, go in love.